The goal of this question is essentially to figure out what this denominator is for the angle AOB. So here's A, O, B. That second letter is always the vertex. So we're trying to figure out what this measure is, specifically in radians, because there's a pi in it. Now, what we're going to do is drop down this segment here, making this a right triangle. And the fact that they're giving us this ordered pair as 1 comma root 3 means from the origin, I could establish that this x value to the right angle is 1. And then from the right angle straight up is root 3. Now, if that looks familiar, that's a good sign, and I'll show you what that comes from. So let's actually go to our math reference document right here in the upper right corner, and notice in the upper right, we have these two special right triangles. Now, which of those two looks more to be in line with the triangle that we have at hand? Well, we have a root 3 and we have a 1. So root 3 and a 1 means that the hypotenuse is going to be a 2. And that means it's a 30, 60, 90. More specifically, notice that the 30 is always across from the 1x, or in our case, the 1. So across from this 1, we can put 30 degrees. Across from the root 3 is 60. So across from the root 3 is 60. And whenever we're trying to find the measure of the angle, it's always referring to the angle at the origin, which like we said was angle O, the vertex portion. So in other words, we know the answer is 60 degrees, but we want it in radians. A few measures that are just good to memorize are going to be 30, 45, 60, and then even 90, but let's just stick with these three because they're the three measures that are in a 30, 60, 90 or a 45, 45, 90, other than 90, of course. Now, the key thing to understand, I'll go ahead and show you a kind of a shortcut for memorizing these. Let's say this one, this has a 3 in it. We're going to say it needs a 6, and this has a 6, it needs a 3. Now, why do I say that? Because if you make these over 1 and you cross multiply, notice you're going to get pi equals 180. And the key thing to know is that pi radians is equivalent to 180 degrees. Same thing here, pi equals 180. So it's just good to memorize those. Now 45 degrees ends up being pi over 4. Memorize it how you will, like it starts with a 4, so it's going to be pi over 4. But the same idea, if you cross multiply, you get pi equals 180. And so you could convert. You could say, okay, 60 degrees, the conversion is to multiply by pi over 180. If you're trying to have it end up in radians, you want pi on top. And then you can cross cancel. The zeros cancel because you're dividing them by 10. 6 goes in itself once and into 18 3 times, and you get pi over 3. But it is beneficial to have those three memorized, as you'll see in the problems to come. So the final answer, since we just want the value that's in the denominator, the answer is 3.